Countdown. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
On Insights, two eyes in the middle. INSIIGHTS, where we always talk the talk.
Well, how you doing, young man? Well, happy New Year to you.
Yes, sir. Doing good. How about you, Coach?
Man, I'm doing any better. I changed my name to Earl Hankerson.
Nah, buddy. It's all about you, Mickey Clayton. Hey, I'm just filling in for the favorite reporter tonight. That's all.
Well, at least, huh?
I hope this telecast go better than that golf game today.
I won't even say anything. Hey, let it go as well as your golf game went yesterday.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I will second that, brother. You got a birdie yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Call the big bird, baby. Call the bird. Yeah,
it sounds like a hawk flying through Holloway. Man, oh man. You know, it's a new year. And we trying real hard not to let anything really kind of get us down. But that doggone COVID just won't let us go, will it?
It ain't gonna stop. It ain't gonna stop. It's preying on our freedoms. We gotta have our freedom. So that's what it's preying on. It's got its freedom and we got ours.
We said when it first started, when it was over in China, when it came across the water, it was going to be an issue in terms of how people who were used to being able to have those freedoms you speak of, to be able to have those denied to them, it was going to be an issue and a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty par for the course. We're selfish people, and we can't always put our fellow man at the forefront. And it's been that way probably as long as we can remember, right?
Unfortunately.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. You know, and it's one of the things that, there were a lot of people, even in the NBA, they lost, a lot of games. I talked last week about how being in Atlanta, not being able to see the Cleveland and Hawks game, and they did refund my money.
Great.
But letting Kyrie Irving play on the road, as a coach, you're losing, and you need that talent as bad as you can. The Nets took a stand. I think they actually caved in. That's what I would say. They actually caved in.
They absolutely did. Once you take a stand, you drew the line in the sand, and you cannot go back across that line, because now, how does that make your organization look? Now, I know we want to win games, but at the end of the day, you drew a line in the sand, stand by what you believed in then, and face the consequences of what happens thereafter. And so I definitely don't agree with Kyrie being able to play, but that's not my call. So as long as he don't come over here and cough in my face, I'm good.
Now we don't want you're not gonna guard him that close anyway, so you don't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah,
you're not gonna be that close to him. Huh?
The talent is just beyond amazing. So he's a heck of a talent. But at the end of the day, let's stand up for what we believe in as organizations, and let's abide by the rules and regulations that we've set. And he hasn't done so, and so he shouldn't deserve to participate in the games.
Well, tell me, COVID, as bad as it is, and you and I were talking, because you don't hear much about really what's going on in the high school realm in the area with games. And when we discussed the fact that there were games being canceled, high school wise, it's barely a ripple. Nobody talks about it. You have any idea why that is? Nobody's saying anything?
I think we've conformed to what this is going to be. We're going to live with this just like we live with a cold, just like we live with the flu. Unfortunately, it's much more dangerous, but And now the flu is no joke. We know that for sure. But we're just gonna have to live with it now at this point, Coach, and that's just gonna be the end of it. There's no reason to continue to harp on that, really, to be honest. And I'll even go back to where we're talking about the Kyrie Irving situation. It's not like he's the only unvaccinated player. Mm-hmm. There are other players that are unvaccinated. He just took a stand that he didn't want to follow any protocols as far as I understand. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. We're just at that point that we're going to have to live with this.
Now, as a former AD at one of the more successful athletic programs in the area, what is your thought? What would you be trying to implement or do, or is there anything you could do to try to look out for the safety of your student athletes?
There's nothing you can do policy-wise because the district has policies that have been set. And that's based on the policy makers and coming from the governor. However, obviously, there are some things that you can do to try to make sure you keep your team safe. It's going to cost more money, but at the end of the day, the safety is more important than the money. So, for example, obviously, making sure that your teams are socially distanced at every opportunity, making sure that you outfit your team with masks and things of that nature. I definitely would have invested in some school masks that exemplify my team. That would be one thing that we could do. We obviously want to continue to clean and sanitize. But other than that, Coach, there's really not a whole lot you can do.
Okay, what happens in the case of a student athlete that tests positive at the school? Or didn't we have a situation last year with a football program where the kids were doing online classes and they ended up having to forfeit some games or something, and it just something just didn't make sense in that. I'm probably not reciting.
I'm not sure. I know right now online classes aren't an option. Those
right.
aren't an option in the public school system. The only option you have for online classes is through your state's virtual schools. And so that there is an option, but that's not necessarily an option that most people are going to undertake. And another reason is that people do want to have the social aspect of being in school. And so you have that to deal with as well. So again, this is something we're going to have to live with, Coach.
Well,
all you can do is your best to mitigate the spread. That's about it. Continue to have conversations. Try to convince your students to follow the science, and try to convince their parents to also follow the science. And this is just something we're gonna have to live with, because until I feel like we're headed toward herd immunity.
Okay, I want to share something with you. An interview that I had a little earlier today with two young men who experienced some things relative to COVID-19 and their family. And I'm going to share that with everybody right now. But ladies and gentlemen, COVID is always a concern for everybody. But with us today, we have a good friend of the program and a good friend of mine. We have Judge Anthony Miller. Welcome, Judge, to the show today.
Mm-hmm. Always a pleasure. You know how much I enjoy insights and the work that you all do in the community and for the especially for the youth. So keep up the good work, Mick.
Well, thank you, Judge. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you, the thing I really want to talk to you about was your personal experience that you've had with COVID and what words and concern you would have to the community.
Yeah. Well, first of all, COVID has impacted every part of our community, whether you are a judge, whether you are a school teacher, whether you work in the court system, outside the court system. I know most of the court system is going to Zoom because of COVID. And it's changed the way that we do court. And personally, my family has been impacted the last week and a half because several of my family members have gotten COVID and we've had to quarantine. I'm waiting for my second test, hopefully to be negative, but it has been pretty significant dealing with COVID. So many of my church members, individuals in the court system have it. And it's something that, number one, we have to take seriously. We have to make individual decisions as to our own personal health, but also thinking about our family, our friends and neighbors. It's so important that we educate ourselves, Coach, on COVID and understand the different options have different consequences. And we just need to make very informed decisions as it relates to the guidelines, as it relates to whether or not individuals have, some of the individuals have decided to take the vaccine, others have not. I always encourage people, the more information, the better. You send me a lot of information, Coach, and I read all of it, and I appreciate that. And I forward a lot of the information to my friends.
Well, I appreciate that. But even I need you to explain a little bit, how do you handle it within the house when some are sick and some have, you know, when some tested positive and some tested negative? How do you handle that within the house?
Well, it's the same as an emergency plan for your family. As a family, we discuss, okay, now that we have individuals who have COVID, what's our action plan? Food distribution, pretty much those who have COVID, it's almost like a prisoner with sliding food next to the door, because the goal is for those who don't have COVID not to get infected. And so it's a sensitive area where all the needs of the family have to be addressed, but we have to do it in a very safe way. So it started with a conversation, guidelines within the family, making sure that those who have COVID are very isolated. We surround ourselves, thankfully, with a good support system, individuals who could help us with meals, help us figure out that whole distribution system.
Well, tell me, everybody was vaccinated or they weren't vaccinated?
Yeah, our whole family decided to get vaccinated. I'm 51 years old, Mickey, and you know, of the older, a little mature generation. I thought it was in my best interest to get vaccinated. So did my wife. Our kids decided that they wanted to get vaccinated. They're both teenagers. And so thankfully we all were vaccinated. But as you know, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that you will not get the virus. But based on what we have researched, if you do get it, you should have less severe consequences when you do get the virus.
Well, you even had one of your daughters, this was her second time getting the COVID, wasn't it?
Exactly, yes. Yeah, she had gotten it when she was away in college, around the Thanksgiving year, 2 years ago when it first came out. So this was her first time. She was not fired up about that. She was not happy. And but the kids thankfully did not have many symptoms. I think that they all got the Omicron version, which had less severe consequences. My wife has been the most impacted by it, but she's a trooper and she's been doing well overall. But we're just monitoring her oxygen levels, making sure that she has everything that she needs.
Well, in closing, and I appreciate you being so forthright with everybody and giving us some words of caution. Having had one member of the family now with it twice, and the family kind of split with some having it, everybody vaccinated, but still having COVID, and you and one of your daughters testing negative all the way through. What words of advice would you have to somebody who has it like that in the house?
The number one thing for us is we have an ongoing conversation about COVID. Since the start of the pandemic, And I really appreciate you because you were giving me information even before the main part of the pandemic came. So I would share that information with my family members. And we've had an ongoing conversation throughout this whole pandemic process. And I think when it's not a matter of if, but when it hits your home, when it does hit your home, if you have a plan, if you have thought through and you've had conversations, I think you can be better prepared when the storm hits.
Judge Miller, we appreciate you taking time. You did mention that, what COVID has done to the court system, like it's done in everything else, the public schools and the school sector. We appreciate you taking this time to share with us.
All right, thank you. And if you need anything else, Mick, you always reach out to me, okay?
I appreciate you. Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you. Thank you.
With me today, Coach Scott. Just in talking to him, doing an update, see how he's doing and fussing with him because I hadn't heard from him. He tried to make me feel bad when he told me what his situation is, but I'm still his coach. I don't feel bad for him either way it goes. But he shared a story about how COVID had controlled his life and his family's life for the last couple of weeks, and he's just getting back on campus. Coach, what have you been through?
Oh man, it's been kind of a whirlwind for me. It's kind of unbelievable because going through it, I was just with the team like right before the Christmas break. We was coming back from a road trip, got a big win, and then I go drive down to Florida with my family, and all of a sudden it's just boom, it just starts spiraling. Like we get down to Florida, my son's complaining about headaches. He got a headache. We think nothing of it, but it steady happened. So we take him in, we get him tested, and boom, he popped positive. So now we like, man, we just was in the car with him for like 8 hours. So not everybody got to get tested. So now, my daughter, she comes up positive, my wife come up positive, and myself. The only tough guy in the family apparently is my 3-year-old. He come up negative every time he tests. So he got the toughest immune system apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was a tough deal. The scary part was like, because your son, he tested. So when he get home, everybody wanted to quarantine. So now he goes upstairs and like when he tests positive, I don't know until they say, oh, he tested positive. He's going upstairs. He's crying because he got to be isolated. And they sending him upstairs by himself, during Christmas break. I'm like, that can't happen. Like, I'm not gonna just stay down here the whole break while this guy's upstairs. Because, we speak to our kids about COVID, being careful and things like that. So he think it's, some kids think like if they get this stuff, that it may be over for them. Like he one of them type kids, like where, he's a very smart kid. He does a lot of
coach.
He's 9 years old. So he does a lot of reading and he's very intelligent kid, unroll all A's and stuff like that. So he think like this is the end for him. Like he really think like, so I'm like, I'm going up there. Like I put him back, I'm doing whatever. I'm not staying away from him. Like I'm not gonna let him be by himself. So I go up and talk to him and try to calm him down and let him know that it's gonna be okay, man. Like you're not, it's just gonna be a little process. In a couple of days, you're gonna be okay, to try to ease his pain. And I stayed up there with him, throughout the time, of being isolated. But then all of a sudden we found out that all of us was positive, like a day or two later, a day later. So now we like, okay, well, we all in it together now. So it kind of helped him, to feel a little more comfortable than everybody. Now we all still together and we fighting through it as a team, that's kind of how you explain it. Like we all in it together now. So it was a trying time, interesting deal. And then especially leaving from there, being in quarantine and coming back to work. And they got their own protocols. And I went back in quarantine again.
You mean when you return to work at Louisiana Monroe after leaving Florida at your in-laws' house, which I'm sure that was still an issue with them. And then you get back to Louisiana Monroe, the school itself has its own policies. And what happened to you then, Coach?
I go back into quarantine. so it was a really tough deal. So I tell people I've been in quarantine for I was in quarantine for about two weeks, maybe a little longer. So I'm pretty sure I'm clear of the quarantine now.
Well, hey, at least right now.
At least right now, for sure.
You can catch it again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Coach, what advice? I mean, you're in a coaching situation, you're on a team. I mean, you're gonna be faced with it again in your work environment. What advice do you have to people about it? And how important did you think it was for your family? I'm sure you were vaccinated. Were the kids vaccinated?
No, and that was another thing. Like my wife was so sick because she wanted to get them vaccinated earlier. But like we talked about, they're so active, like with swim and chili and all this and that. And when they first came out, they was like, because before it came out that kids can get vaccinated, it was like, my son always say, hey, when they come out with a shot, I want to get vaccinated. And my daughter was like, nah, I don't know if I want to do that, but the oldest one always said, man, whenever they get it, I want to go and get vaccinated. So when it came out for the kids to be vaccinated, it kind of got us. They got active, and we kind of lost sight of it a little bit and wanted to wait till they kind of slowed down, kind of like I did. Because when the break happened, I went and got my booster shot, and then I tested positive after the booster shot. So it was kind of one of those deals where we were waiting for things to slow down to get them the shot.
Wait a minute. What'd you say? You say you went and got the booster shot and then you tested positive after you got the booster shot.
Yeah. I got it. I took my booster shot on Wednesday and tested positive on Thursday. So it was just so technically I probably had it and didn't even know it without knowing, because I had no symptoms, no nothing. I had no symptoms the whole entire time. Like that's the one thing I guess about me. Like I didn't develop any symptoms. Like, so I was just normally walking around, and I would have never known if my son would have never tested positive. I probably would have just been walking around with it, like not even knowing. But when I went and did my physical this year, my doctor said, she said, since I had been vaccinated, and I did have a kit, I tested positive during last season, like before the season started, but I didn't have any symptoms. And I was thinking like, man, it's just a false positive. It's gotta be. Like, because so many people was getting it and being sick or saying they lost smell or taste or all this. And I didn't get any of those symptoms. So I was like, ain't no way. But I'm gonna sit here in quarantine and do what they tell me to do, but ain't no way I got it because I'm normal. But now that I look back now, my doctor said like, oh, well, if you had it and now you vaccinated, if you ever get it again, you probably not even gonna know you have it. And now looking back on my, my checkup when I went to get my yearly physical, she was telling me this. So like she said, I would have never known if my son would have never tested positive. I would have never known that I was positive.
Well, it's been a blessing that it didn't affect your family any more than it did. And your highly intelligent reading son knew that he wanted to take it first. I mean, he wanted to sign up for it.
Yep, he wanted to sign up for it, man. Because he said, man, I want to make sure I'm protected, because he's scared. He's literally scared of it. Yeah. And to this day, like I never thought about this. Like, my wife said that, he don't want to go back to school. Like they started school today. Like he don't want to go back to school. I never put two and two together. Like it may be because he think he might have picked up COVID at school. He don't want to go back. Like he want to stay away from people. Like he don't want to go around other people right now. Like because he's just terrified. Which as a kid, you think like, back when I was growing up, like they'd be like, boy, go to school, but nowadays, like, I mean, you got to think about it. He know way more than what I probably knew when I was 9 years old because he do way more reading. So.
Wow. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to share the Scott family Christmas vacation with us.
Right, yeah.
And I'm glad that y'all doing better. And
yep, everybody pick up and
be
run.
okay. But Coach, you a testament that, and that we've had people on this saying they're catching it at least twice. And if you can catch it twice, it ain't a limit. You can catch it 3 or 4 times. Oh
yeah, definitely. I mean, apparently I'm one of them that's had it twice. So I just say, and they tell me all the time, they were like, the first time I got, they were like, man, how did Mo get it? Because he's the most carefulest guy out there. Like, cause I'm always washing my hands. I'm always doing, I'm not doing anything. Like, I stay away from, like, I was like, when I was staying away from everything. Like, so. But now that the season got going, you kind of nobody wearing masks, you kind of let your guard down on the sideline, you shaking everybody's hand, and I mean it kind of get a little lax, and you don't think about it as much as you did when it first happened. So, and being vaccinated, you kind of take things for granted, but you still got to be careful though, even being vaccinated.
And on that, we'll close. You still have to be careful, even being vaccinated. Thank you, Coach Scott, and good luck to ULM.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Man, there's just so many layers to that, Coach, that you want to touch. It's just so many layers to it.
And that is something tough. I tell you, a couple things though that I took away from Judge Miller, having a continuous conversation with his family about it and having a plan. I thought those things were really important that we all need to implement. And, I'm going to restart that with my family as well, especially as fast as this Omicron variant is spreading. But how sad for Coach, his daughter, to have such angst about getting the vaccine. And that comes about with the climate that has been created for her with regards to people not wanting to get the vaccine or the things that they've heard or the skepticism. That's not good. And I see that all the time with my students as well as some of the parents of the students that I teach.
Coach Scott, his daughter, who was like that, she's young. She's 5 or 6.
Oh, okay.
So
that puts it in better perspective. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the thing that really got to me was Coach Scott as a dad, and just couldn't leave his son in quarantine, and it's Christmas time, and he's upstairs. And he basically said, if I catch it, I just catch it. But I'm not leaving my boy by himself. I'm just not doing that.
Yeah. And at that age.
That kind of got me, him doing that, But that's the kind of guy he is. But kind of cut from that same cloth is our special guest. He's real special because he knew when he texted me, told me he was running a little late, that I was going to have something to say to him. That's just par for the course. And like I told him, I saw him laughing when I was talking about Coach Scott, and I was on Coach Scott, and I said, yeah, I'm still your coach, so I can still say what I want to say. I don't care how many teams you coach, your coach is still your coach. But I want to welcome a young man that we've known before he really knew himself. He was at Florida High. He'd be running around on the court all the time. Everybody said, who the little kid out there shooting basketball? He'd be all between the games with a basketball shooting and could shoot. They said, that little guy could shoot. And he'd get the ball and go shoot by himself. And if the other guys come on the court to shoot, he'd take the ball and go to the other end. So he wasn't going to share the basketball with anybody. Then he ended up being a point guard, and then he had to pass to everybody. You know, we watched him grow up through high school and through college. Byron Taylor. Welcome to Insights, young man.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Coach.
And last time I saw you, it was me, you, and Morris Scott in Atlanta at an AAU tournament.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. About 2-3 years ago.
It
yes,
was.
Sir.
It
Hey.
was. I got that picture. I got it on my wall.
Oh, that's awesome.
Coach, he got the master plan written behind him back there. You sure you don't want to cover that up, Coach?
What's that?
That master plan that's behind you on the chalkboard, on the whiteboard.
Hey, I gotta have that in front of me. I'm actually in my classroom. We just finished basketball practice, and you know what? I gotta have that right there. So I look right to my side, look behind me, and I see it. Keeps me focused.
That's right.
Man, the older you get, when you talk, the more you sound like your dad. You got his voice and tonal and intonation, and what you say, you sounded like your dad. He's legendary around here and in North Carolina, Barry Taylor. But you sounded like him.
Yes,
All he missing is a trademark hat.
Yes,
hey, somebody already said, Jay Quad said, we already screenshotted his notes. Coach, we weren't gonna really get, but since we were really on the COVID, I got some other things I want to ask you about what you're doing, but to kind of stay along with that, what's going on up here in Atlanta at your high school? Tell us where you are, what you're doing, and telling us how COVID is really having an effect on y'all.
Absolutely. So I'm a teacher, business education teacher, and high school basketball coach at Cass High School, which is up in Bartow County in Cartersville. And it's funny, you talked about COVID. About 2 weeks ago, we actually had to shut down from playing games. We were at a Christmas tournament, and we had 2 positives in our program. So, I know it was the holiday season. People are going to be around their families. And so I just say, you know what, let's shut it down for a week, get away from each other, and just make sure we don't have any spreading amongst our team. So, thankfully, nobody else got sick, and everybody had mild symptoms, and nobody ultimately got that sick. So we were blessed in that aspect.
What about in your household? I know you married an athletic legend from FAMU, and you have what, 2 children now?
Absolutely. So we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and then my wife Deidre. We've been blessed not to have COVID so far in our household, and I'm really surprised. I mean, our kids are going to daycare. There's been COVID at the daycare. So we've just been blessed so far not to, knock on wood, to test positive as of right now.
What did you take from your guy Mo Scott and what he's been through?
So it's funny. I've known Mo Scott a long time. When I was a freshman at FAMU, he was a GA. So, Mo used to jump in practice with us, rebound for us. So, I've known Mo since I was 18 years old. And my heart just went out when he talked about his son. Because, I got kids too. And just how he said he didn't want him to feel like he was just alone and support him and, let him feel like, hey, I'm here for you. So I fully understand that.
And see, you come from a home where you and your dad, were real close too.
Absolutely.
And still real close. Always you always have a different relationship with your dad and a different with your mom. And you were real close with your mom as well. But when you have that kind of background, it kind of shows you how you want to be with your own son.
Right.
And when Mo said it, my heart just kind of went out to him. I was like, that's the side of it that I wasn't expecting to hear, but I wanted him and Judge Miller to share so people would know, because it wouldn't have dawned on me about somebody being that small and it's at Christmas and then you in quarantine upstairs away from everybody else. Just how is he handling that? And the fact that he was like, that's my boy. I'm going up here with him. He's not going to be by himself.
Right.
So tell us a little bit, Coach. I know you were at James Madison one time, North Florida. Now you're in high school. Is this your second year in high school?
So I was a teacher last year at Alexander. I did not coach. I enjoyed not coaching last year. I did not think I would enjoy that, but just that extra time with family, being able to be home and just enjoy that time. Obviously, COVID was kind of crazy, so I definitely wanted to be at home more with my family. Was teaching virtually, which was also great. And I just missed it. Got to the end of the year and I'm like, man, you know, don't have a team to call home, don't have, players to talk to and help get better and try to mentor. And I just, started looking for high school jobs in the metro Atlanta area and just kind of got blessed and knew somebody that knew somebody here at Cass. And I really enjoyed it since I've been here since August.
Okay. What has been your biggest adjustment getting back into the game?
So I would say just the level of high school guys not knowing just the small things of, I really had to be around these guys to understand how to communicate with them, just how they receive information. And one thing that I really tried to do early on in Georgia to do was called 4-on-1s, which is just preseason workouts before the season started. And I purposely did those at 6:30 in the morning because I wanted to see who would be dedicated. And I know you can't fake the funk at 6:30 a.m. You're gonna be who you are. So I want those guys to see who I was, and then I wanted to get to know those guys so I can understand, how they like to be communicated to, so I can understand who I can really get on, who I need to pull aside, and it really, really helped me just to get to know my players and allow them to get to know me.
Okay, now what was the biggest difference you saw leaving college and going to high school in terms of your ability to be hands-on or whatever? What was the biggest adjustment you had to make?
I say the biggest adjustment is, I'm just so used to going out and recruiting and choosing my players. I mean, in high school, you get who you get, and you got to work them and get better and those kind of things. So that was the first thing I had to get used to, as far as, okay, I'm at this school. These are the guys that are staying in my district, in my zone, and these are the guys that are coming here, and we're gonna have trials, and we're gonna work hard to get better. So that was the first thing, and then I would say the second thing is. Probably all the communication with the parents.
See, that's what I was.
So we would have communication as far as recruiting and get to know. But once the kids got to campus, they're away from mom and dad for the most part, and they got to figure out how to get extra shots up and how to fight through adversity and issues, and how to be a college student athlete. In high school, some guys are still. Parents are still spoon feeding them and holding their hand and, doing every little thing for them. So, I'm trying to help these guys be a little bit more independent, a little bit, and just trying to give them a little bit more responsibility on my end.
That was what I was expecting. I knew dealing with the parents had to be one of them. I knew that had to be, because that the parents are a lot more hands-on at that age.
Absolutely.
But also tell me this. You have a wife who was an athlete. How helpful has she been in this process?
Well, it's been great because, before I decided to even look for jobs, I asked her, I said, hey, obviously, I was in college, and that is a huge, huge time commitment, recruiting, away games. And I said, look, is this even feasible for me to be a coach again? With our family, with very young kids. And she said, you know what, you love the game. And she said, you know what, go enjoy it, go do what you love, and we'll figure everything else out. And you know what, that really, just gave me the confidence to go look for jobs and just be excited about coaching again.
I think that's excellent. That's a great response. Our families know each other's family. I mean, all the way back. I got 3 girls. They were around the same ages as you. And one of the things that I always talked to them about was that when you have a boyfriend, a husband, significant other, if they're in a sport, because I would imagine that you're going to be attracted to guys that are athletes, because that's just how you are. All of you are athletes. That you always encourage them. Don't ever be the person to keep them from following their dream.
Right.
I said, you're an athlete. All y'all are athletes, and someday you'll be an ex-athlete. But if you have a significant other that wants to, still trying to make it to the NBA or play overseas or whatever that's for, don't be the person that kills that dream. Always be the woman that supports him. And I kind of had a feeling that your wife was like that because she played and she competed at a very high level.
Absolutely.
She might have been a little more athletic than you, Coach.
There's no might in it now. Hey, freshman of the year, 1,000-point score. She's pretty good now. She's pretty good.
I've seen her. I know. That's why I was picking at you. Saying she might be a better athlete than you.
There's no might in it. There's no might in it.
And then I hear your dad just loves being Papa.
Oh, he eats it up. He's trying to get my kids to the golf course already. He's trying to show them something already. Yes.
Well, how often you come back home?
I say a lot in the summertime, obviously, but probably during the year, maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what? To the audience, for those you don't know, Byron was very successful at Florida High School as well, and at Florida A&M University. So he's a Tallahassee kid that grew up here.
Absolutely.
And is a Tallahassee guy. And one of the things that we wanted to do while we tried to get him back was for everybody to kind of know how he's doing. We always hear the negative when somebody leaves, and the media does a quick job of bringing us an update if he get arrested or something like that. But part of what we wanted to do with Insights is to reach back and kind of let people know about our kids that are doing well. And I had tried to reach him, Earl. I had tried to reach him and told his dad, I said, your son done returned my Texas. I've been trying to reach him, trying to get him on the show. And he said, that don't sound like Byron. That don't sound like him. And I said, well, no, it doesn't, but I could show you. I've been trying to reach him. He said, well, did you get his new number? I said, well, how would I get his new number? I would just have his old number. He said, well, I'm going to send you his new number, and I guarantee you that you'll hear from him. And when I got his new number, I texted him, and I heard from him within the hour. Which is a little bit more indicative of the relationship that I had with him. For me not to hear from him, I've been like,
you had to call in reinforcements.
When you're from Tallahassee, it's the same thing. If you go to school here, Earl, you're a teacher in the area, you got kids. If you do go to school in the area, you do something wrong before you get home, your mom and dad know.
No doubt. No doubt.
No. And if they didn't know your dad, they told your mom. It was somebody, so it was the same thing. When I couldn't get to him, I told his dad. His dad made it happen. So tell me about your team, Coach. Tell me what you have.
So really young team, but we're not very big, but we're fast, we're quick, we pressure the ball, we get up and down, and I'm really, really enjoying it because I'm seeing some young guys that are getting better, that are learning how to play, and I'm just trying to give them some direction. I love to play fast at heart. I'm a small guy myself. I mean, you remember me, Coach. I love to pressure the ball. I love to get up and down. So my team is just like me. We got a few guys that are above the rim guys, but for the most part, we're a scrappy, undersized team, and I actually love that.
Well, Coach, I need you to encourage your team to come on, watch your show, follow our program. Get me some likes. Get me some subscribers.
Absolutely.
Just by me coming up there so we can come up and tape a game. We can put your games up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That'd be awesome.
Nothing would be better for us than to be able to come up there and do a pregame show and tape your game. And, all our stuff is, as you know, is free. And a lot of the coaches will go up there and look at it, because it doesn't cost you anything to go up there and see this school or to see what they're doing, so that's the most effective way to recruit is to be able to do it like that where it doesn't cost you anything.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Coach, what words of advice would you give to students, or what do you tell your team to encourage them during this time as a young man, as you said, undersized, a short guy that just had a chip on your shoulder every day to prove that you could play. And you use that to make yourself successful. Plus, you had parents who weren't going to let you fail. But what would you tell them, Coach?
Well, it's hard because the one thing I try to use is confidence and belief. You know, you want to be confident in your abilities and things you can do. You want to believe in yourself, but you don't want to be overconfident. You know, you don't want to have a big head. So, you know, I definitely encourage my guys, you know, and small things like when you're open, be confident in that shot. You know, when you're going to make a play, be confident in what you're doing. And then, you know, in the classroom too, I tell them when you're going to take a test, be confident and believe in the work you put in as you study for that test. So, you know, we try to take those lessons on the court and we just try to move those on to real life lessons. And hopefully at some point when these guys graduate and leave, they can take some of this adversity and issues that they fought through in basketball and use that in real life. So those are the two things that we talk about is having confidence in everything that you do, and then having a belief in everything that you do. Just believe when I'm going into this classroom to take that test that I'm going to be successful. Believe when you take that open jump shot in the game, it's going to go in. And, you know, whether it does or not, I mean, you know, you try your best, you try your hardest, and then the next time you do the same exact thing.
Coach, anything you'd like to ask him?
No, I can see the belief and the confidence that he's talking about in what he's saying. But also what we need to really know is what's the best golf course in the area, because it sounds like a road trip to me.
Oh, no doubt.
I know his dad been up there playing already. When he come, I know he bring his golf.
All you gotta do is call him. He'll have it scouted out for you. He'll probably have every county in the metro Atlanta area.
Well, Coach, let me ask you this. I know that you're real interested in your young men off the court and helping them to grow up. And in that Atlanta area, you know, it's not a lot of places in the country like Atlanta.
Right.
And Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, LA, maybe. What do you tell your young men in terms of how to carry themselves to try to avoid being in bad situations? Because they could be completely right and see the wrong person and it'd be a bad situation. What do you try to tell them or emphasize with them in terms of growing up in today's environment and how to be able to be safe?
Right. So I go back to my experience as a college coach. And, you know, when guys come to college, there is so many things that they have to learn to say no to. You know, do you either want to go to that party? You want to go get extra shots up? So I lean towards that. And the one thing I always say is be aware and know your surroundings. You know, be aware of who you're riding in the car with. Be aware of when you're at this place, who's in and out of there, who, you know, be aware of your surroundings at all times. Because like you said, you never know what can happen in today's day and age. I hate to say that, but as a young man, you have to be aware of, you know, who you're riding with, where they're going, you know, what time you're riding with them, and you know, what type of neighborhood you're in. You have to be aware of all those things. And that's tough to say to a 15 or 16-year-old because they may not understand those things. And I would hate for them to learn from a bad experience. But I mean, that's one of the huge things I say is learn to say no and be strong about it. Be, you know, have conviction about, no, I'm not doing that. And then be aware of your surroundings as far as, you know, where am I going? Who am I hanging around with? And you know, if I'm at a mall, if I'm at a place, who's going in and out? You know, just so you're aware of everything that's going on around you.
Those are good words. As we said, I have 3 daughters. I got 2 grandsons now. And I've started talking to them, you know, already about their challenges that they're going to face.
Right.
And, you know, like my daughters, they, you know, my grandsons already strong, independent thinkers. And I need them to understand there's a time and a place for that.
Right.
Even if you're completely right, you're still wrong. Just get out of the situation, get back home, and then we'll deal with it. Don't try to be a hero now and take this strong stand and be these acts of defiance for somebody to interpret them the wrong way. So yet whatever they're saying now, let's just get out the situation. And once we get home, then we'll resolve the problem.
Right.
But let's get out. Well, I had a daughter the police told, and Earl, you might have heard me say that. They told her to back up. And when she backed my truck up, she was driving the 150. She turned around, he had pulled his gun. And he had pulled his gun on her, saying that she tried to run over him. I mean, just that quick, Byron. It could have been, I mean, she wouldn't have been here. But just that quick, they had interpreted her doing what they told her to do and had pulled his gun on her. And naturally, now Daddy didn't know about it for a little while because they knew that I would have reacted a certain way right then. But I'm just saying, as these kids grow up and as they encounter things, our students, both male and female, by the time our kids come out of the gate, the race already started. They come around the backstretch. We don't all come out the gate at the same time. So we are, Earl, as a former AD, what do you see in Coach that you like about it?
He said it already. That confidence and belief. You can tell he's instilling that in his team. And that's going to carry a long way, Coach, because a lot of our kids need to understand that they have to believe in themselves.
Absolutely.
And what they're doing, and in order to be successful and accomplish what they want to accomplish in life. You gotta start there. You gotta believe it first. And once you believe it, then you can put forth some effort to get to where you want to go. But Coach, I would have paid to see what you would have said to the officers. That would have been pretty good. Get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready. Hey, it might have been one of them situations that you never got a chance to meet me.
Hey, but no, Coach Taylor, I really love that what you're doing, and hopefully, maybe we will get an opportunity to come up and check you out and see about your team and meet you and meet them and be able to fellowship.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Coach, I'm serious about that now. So
oh yeah.
If I say it to you, I ain't mean it. You know me all your life.
Yes, sir.
And so we're real proud of you and appreciate your dad reaching back out to you because we wanted to let people know how you were doing. And an additional thing is that just to tell you, if I didn't say it before, we are proud of you and your success and how you're doing as a dad and a father, and I also like the way so many of you guys still stay in touch. I mean, those relationships that you have with your teammates and the people that you went to school with at Florida A&M University, and you represent well, and we're really proud of you guys hanging out together and everything, staying together like y'all doing.
Absolutely.
Coach, we thank you for being with us. If it's something you need us to know about that we could push or say something about, you let us know. But I need you to send me a schedule, kind of circle the games, the big games on there. And, Milan's now the head girls coach at North Florida Christian.
Nice. So, that's awesome.
Thank you. We try to build our shooting schedule around that because we kind of have to be there to support Squirt when she's doing what she does.
That's awesome.
Her first year and your first year where you are. So again, those Florida high students going on doing what they do, y'all were a little special. Coach, we appreciate you very much.
Yes, sir.
And please stay in touch with us because we want to know how you're doing.
Will do. I'll send you that schedule.
Okay, Coach.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
All right, have a good one now.
Have you thought about improving the curb appeal of your home or business? If so, call Hank. My pressure washing service will give your property a fresh look that you are needing at an affordable price. Just take a look at some of these improvements. If you are in need, give Hank a shout. I'll get you right.
Hey, y'all, what's up? Y'all get ready to leave. I need you to go on down there and hit the subscribe and the like button. Yeah. We appreciate that. Hit. No. Don't get no attitude. Just do that and hit the subscribe, hit the like, write a comment. Tell us something about the show. Tell us something about what we said. Now, hold up. I might not like what you say, but I'm for sure gonna read it and comment. And some of it we even use in the next shows. Don't. There you go. Down there, hit that button. That's right. There you go. We appreciate that. Appreciate it. That's how Insights grows. We all support each other. Don't do that. Don't get pissed off. Go on and take one more sip of that beer. Yeah, sports fans. That's what we do. We appreciate you. That's it. We appreciate you a lot. Insights appreciate you. Both me and Rick from MicknRick Insights Sports TV. We appreciate you.
Man, Earl, Byron, he's a little special guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah, man, that's a good dude right there. Comes from good stock. And yeah, I just said, man, hit that damn button.
Oh boy, I don't know about you. You a little special. On the serious side, we have not mentioned the fact that we've lost some pretty significant people in the last couple of weeks. Furthest one back is probably Dr. Walter Smith, former president at Florida A&M University. He passed. Dr. Humphreys passed before him, but you know, we've lost 7 and 8, number 7 and number 8. And Dr. Smith was a real good guy. I remember under his leadership, Title IX came, gave more money to women's sports. And I had been I've been full-time on campus as a counselor, the Upper Bound Special Services Program, and doing basketball on the side. And when the job came open full-time, had to apply for it and go through the process. And Dr. Smith told me, he said, don't worry about it, Mick. He said, we can't have you working all this time for almost free and then the job become full-time and then you're not good enough for it. So right. He was a man who stood by his word. We lost Sam Jones, the only person who's won and more NBA championship rings than him is Bill Russell. And we related to Sam, my uncle. He was a guy who taught us how to shoot a bank shot growing up. And that legacy lived for everybody who ever played for us in AAU, the Rattlerettes, not the Lady Rattlers. We were the Rattlerettes. The men's basketball team, all of us went through drills shooting the bank shot. And that was from Sam Jones, who taught us how to put that ball in the square. And he was always a guy that if he could do something to help you, he did. He used to give us so many Celtics gear with signatures by everybody on the Celtics team. Man, if I had just kept one of those basketballs, I'd have been rich.
Yeah, you got that right.
But we took him outside, played with him as soon as we got him. And last but not least, John Madden's passing. And John was a guy who really was a person who stood up for HBCU athletes. Killer Lawrence from FAMU, Nate Newton, some of those guys, the Killer spoke up for him. Alvin Wyatt wrote a soliloquy in terms of how much influence John Madden had on him the year he played with the Raiders. So we've lost some people along the way as we head to 2022 that we really will miss them, and praying for their families and thankful that their presence, their spirits, and their memories are still with us.
And it's so important that we celebrate the time that we have with one another and with our family and friends. Let's celebrate each other, as they say now. Let's give each other our flowers while we're still here, and let's just enjoy each other. And you know, we're in a tumultuous time, but let's try to find that silver lining in those clouds. So definitely send our prayers to those families who've been affected by our topic today, which is COVID, and those that have been lost.
Well, we got a few comments. Clifton Chapman, who's also one of our guys that we'll have next week on, we'll have the Pick'em crew on, and they'll be a little crazy next week with the Pick'em crew. He's picking at you, talking about hit the damn button. Vanessa Byers, our sister, told us what a great show it was. I have to say happy Founders Day to all my Kappa Alpha Psi brothers. Happy Founders Day. Congratulations to Ben Tillman. They were supposed to do a ceremony. We were doing his game yesterday with Pelham High, with Thomasville and Pelham High. Ben is the head coach at Thomasville High School, one of our signature programs. Mm-hmm. One of the things that happened was they had an outbreak in Pelham, and they closed the schools down yesterday. So the Thomasville game got canceled, which I think is great, even though they wanted to play that game. I said, if they had came in there, you might have had an outbreak in Thomasville in 2 or 3 days. Yeah. So, because it gets spread just that quickly. And we are that concerned about COVID and what's going on in our community that pretty much most of this show was dedicated to it, because there's just some things that we needed everybody to know. For me to know it or Earl to know it and we don't share it with you doesn't do anybody any good.
Right.
We have a platform. We try to use our platform mainly because nobody can tell our story like we tell our story. And the stories of these two young men that we know of that were dads in every sense of the true sense of the word, dads and fathers, there with their kids and what they were trying to do to help their families get through the situation. And I keep going back to Coach Scott. That thing just pulled in my heart. I mean, just if that was been now, Steve Harvey said he had his 2-year-old grandson had COVID, and he said, "What we gonna do with him? Because he can't change his own diaper, he can't go to quarantine." And he said when he was looking for Papa, Steve Harvey said he was running down the hall. Say he said somebody better get him. It ain't gonna be me, but somebody better get him. Somebody better get him. But we appreciate Earl stepping in for Rick. Rick, I mean, Earl's not even a stand-in. He's just part of the cast. No.
Anytime. I miss our favorite reporter's favorite reporter. However the hell he say it.
Oh, I say, hey, that's what he says to me. That you still ain't got it right after all this time. But next week we're gonna have Clifton. He's gonna be on. He's gonna be on with our Pick'em crew, and they'll talk about the playoffs and their favorite teams that didn't make it. We still looking to get in touch with Mike Coe at Madison County. We'd like to have him on to talk about, his program at Madison. And, we're trying to plan a little bit more effectively, but things come up sometimes that take our attention. And we have to dedicate our attention to it when it comes up. So once again, we appreciate y'all being with us in this year, in the new year, 2022. And we're not going to let COVID keep us down, but it will be moderation. Let's be smart, not walk around and say, okay, let me put it this way. I could get COVID, may have had it already, I don't know, but it will not be because I didn't respect COVID.
Right.
Not going to be because I didn't respect it now. And I'll be masked up. I've had both shots, had a booster shot. That does not mean for the critics, hey, you still got all them shots and you still got it. Yeah, but
yes,
I walked away from it. You want to be able to survive it.
That's
and
right.
That's it.
That's right.
And Clifton said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Said he can't wait till next week with the Pick'em. He did pretty good. But we'd like to thank everybody again for being with us. It's 2022. We need you to have a positive outlook. Remember that even though it's a new year, believe in you, whoever your spiritual maker is, your deity that supports you, gives you strength inside of you to be who you need to be and let you see what's coming before it happens to you. Make sure you continue that belief in that man upstairs to be able to do it. Don't let 22 affect you, change you from doing the things that you want to do and being who you are. Being the person that your parents created you to be. Along the way, sometimes we get sidetracked. Let's get back on track and let's continue down that road and make yourself and your family stronger and be the person you need to be, and look out for your neighbors, look out for your friends, look out for your family, look out for those people you don't know. Again, we appreciate you and good.
From Insights. Visit our website at insights.com. 2 I's in the middle, INSIIGHTS.
Insights is the copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on Insights represent their independent thoughts and representations.
Mask up.
Yes, sir. Hit the damn button.
Hit the damn button.
Have a good one, Coach.